Subharmonic singing has been blowing up lately, which is pretty awesome, I'm glad that these subharmonic singers and low bass singers are finally getting the recognition that they deserve. As you can imagine though, the bigger something gets, the more myths come along with it. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 biggest myths I see with subharmonic singing. Number 1, it takes a long time to hit your first subharmonic note. Absolutely false. I posted a video previously talking about how you can hit your first subharmonic note in less than 12 minutes, and it showed you the step-by-step process that I developed, calling it the Count Dracula or Count Chocula approach. And if you look at the comments on that video, there are a bunch of them saying, wow, I hit my first note. Oh my God, I did it. I can't believe it. I thought this was a lot harder. No, don't get me wrong. Subharmonic singing is difficult, but I think it's the cliche example of it takes a second to learn, but a lifetime to master. Using that technique I developed in that video, I've had some of my personal friends get their first subharmonic note and hit it in minutes. Pretty easily too. And I feel like when it comes to subharmonic singing, don't get me wrong, like I said, it is very difficult, especially when you get into more advanced versions of it. But I think a lot of people put it on this huge pedestal. This is something you may notice throughout this video, that a lot of people put it on this pedestal like, oh my God, I heard it takes a year to hit your first subharmonic note. Not really. If you follow along with that video, and I'll post it below in the description, you can hit your first subharmonic note in minutes. It's a lot easier than you think to hit your first subharmonic note and start hitting those subharmonics. But remember, as you can imagine, mastering it is a whole other ballgame. Number 2, only blank can learn it. What I mean is, I've seen some myths of people saying, well, in order to sing subharmonics, you have to be a boy. Girls can't do it. The top comment on that video is a girl saying, wow, I can't believe I did it. I thought this was only for guys. I thought girls couldn't sing subharmonics, but I was able to do it from your video. Another myth I heard along with this is, oh, you need a super low voice. Only bass singers can do subharmonics. If you're, like, say, a alto or a soprano singer, nope, you can't do it. Absolutely false as well. Yes, as you can imagine, if you have a super low voice, let's say your chest voice is super low, you can hit lower subharmonics for the most part. But even if you're a super high-pitched singer, you can still hit subharmonic notes. Unless you have, let's say, a vocal condition or something, I would guess that around 99% of people can do subharmonic singing. At the end of the day, when it comes to it, you just have to look at it in a different way than regular singing. That's really what it comes down to. Although, yes, it's definitely trickier in some ways than regular singing, you just have to look at it in a different way, and almost anybody can learn it. Number 3, subharmonic notes are always lower. False. Now, there is some truth to this, and this could be, again, a whole other video. A lot of this video, I'm trying to kind of skim the surface and make this video very beginners friendly, but a lot of people look at subharmonic notes as always being super low. That's technically true because you can hit a lot of insanely low notes with subharmonic singing. However, I could easily sing a chest note lower and sing a subharmonic note higher. Just because a note is achieved with subharmonic singing doesn't automatically mean it's going to be lower than, like, say, your chest voice. Typically it is, but there are some crossovers. When it comes to the different types of singing, and again, I'm oversimplifying this a lot. If I look at, like, say, head voice versus chest voice versus the subharmonic register, yet as you go down that path, the notes will get typically lower, but there are some crossovers where, like, say, my chest voice can sometimes get higher than my head voice, and my head voice, if I wanted to, could sing a little bit lower, right? There are some crossovers because you could sing subharmonics high if you want to. Number 4, pick the lowest note possible and then go from there. False. I heard this myth where people said, oh, if you want to start singing subharmonics, what you should do is sing as low as you can in your chest voice. So go like, oh, whoa, 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 and keep going all the way down, hit like a really, really solid low note, and then hit the subharmonic from there. False. I find the best way to do this, and this is what I talked about in that video, is not to pick a super high note, not to pick a super low note, but just something in between. Sing any note, and this is what I typically say, sing any note. So if I sing, oh, I just sing a random note, that's the note I'm going to start with, and I think it's easiest to start with a note that you're comfortable singing, so just, oh, and then hit the subharmonic. So go like, oh, or whatever. I find people are better off starting with a note that feels comfortable, and then hitting that subharmonic, as opposed to really going in deep, trying to hit like a super low chest note, and then going to the subharmonic from there. You can definitely do that, but when it comes to starting out with subharmonic singing, I think pick a note that feels comfortable and then go from there. And number 5, subharmonic singing is dangerous and even more dangerous than regular singing. False. Now, out of any of these, this may be the most controversial. I've heard some singers say, oh, don't even touch subharmonic singing until you've been singing for years. You know, it's very dangerous. You can destroy your vocal cords, etc., etc. I'm going to take a quick side note. I have a very strong background in fitness, and I know this is kind of random, but I promise you it does apply. When I do vocal training, and I'm working on, let's say, low bass singing or subharmonic singing, I don't treat my training as an instrument per se. I look at it as a workout. My training protocol when it comes to low bass singing and subharmonic singing is actually more rooted in fitness and all the physiological science of fitness rather than instrumentation or music, if that makes sense. I know a bit semantics. And when it comes to subharmonic singing, looking at it from a fitness and a physiological perspective, I think you're way more likely to hurt your vocal cords, destroy them, or have issues from normal singing, so to speak, compared to subharmonic singing. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean that subharmonic singing is 100% safe. Of course, like anything, if you're singing subharmonics, for hours on end and not giving yourself a break, that's not good. However, though, if let's say I'm working on low bass singing and I work on that for a while, let's say, the next day I feel it. I feel it in my vocal cords. I'm like, oh wow, pretty sore. I gotta take a couple days off. When it comes to the physiological nature, I look at regular singing more similar to weightlifting, where you're really straining your voice, trying to hit these, notes for a while. And then I look at subharmonic singing more similar to endurance training, running, Pilates, biking, things that are more similar in cardio nature. Because of the way it affects your vocal cords, I think you're way more likely to hurt yourself from regular singing than subharmonic singing. One thing I do want to stress though, I am not a doctor, so I want to say that very, very transparently on camera. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not your doctor, and I'm not your coach. But the biggest myth that really I think is misleading with subharmonic singing that I've seen is that it's super, super dangerous. I've even heard some singers refer to subharmonic singing as almost playing with dynamite if you don't know how to do it properly. Of course, you want to be as safe as possible when it comes to singing and practicing, again, just like a workout where you do it for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Then work your way up. If you're, let's say, getting sore, or let's say things are just not feeling the best, take a break, again, just like working out. However, subharmonic singing is a lot safer than most people make it out to be. And like I said, I look at normal singing as being way more stressful on your vocal cords.